People who get told they look younger than they are, what is your secret? Before we start with the first story, please hit subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. Hang around people with poor eyesight. Yeah, to be honest, in my experience, people are just really delusional about this, LOL. Someone will tell you that they and everyone in their family looks 20 years younger and that none of them have a single wrinkle, and then they all just look exactly their age, if not older. LOL. I'm 30 and I've noticed differences among my peers, but I never extrapolate anything from myself or my family members because people are just so inaccurate about their self-assessments, positive or negative bias. Either way, and I know I fall to the same thing, LOL. In my experience, it's mostly genetics, to be honest. Story 2. My mom uses a parasol in strong sunlight. People look at her weird, but parasols were a thing in many societies. She's got the skin of a woman half her age. Yep, this is exactly it. Avoid the sun however best works for you. Wear sunscreen every day and reapply on a 2 to 3 hour schedule when you have to have sunlight touching your skin. Parasol, arm sleeves, hats, face shields, whatever works best. Don't smoke, obviously. If you don't want to use a parasol, you can get some good sunscreen and apply it properly throughout the day when you're outside in the sun. And it should do the job just as well. Story 3. 5 extra lbs on me keeps my face full and more youthful looking. And this is why buccal fat removal will bite people in the ass. Sometimes directly, but definitely in the long run. The chubby face keeps you youthful looking, and lots of celebs and influencers who get that procedure done now look gaunt and so much older than they are. This is true. I have a fuller face, and people have commented I look the same as I did as a kid, and I think it's down to the round apple cheeks. I'm 150 lbs and 5 feet 4 inches and age 41. Someone recently said they thought I was in my 20 seconds, but up close, there's definitely fine lines, so he didn't look very closely. Story 4. Short, chubby face, 50 SPF sunscreen, and I always wear polarized sunglasses when I'm outside during the day. Yep, I'm male, about the same height, skin makes me look young, and I shave almost every day. Last month I went to do the lottery. I had my car keys with me, visible arm tattoos, and the owner, who was like 5'6", asked for my ID because he had doubts I was 18 plus. When I asked him why, he said that if I had the same facial features but a little taller, he wouldn't say anything. I am 25. PD, nowadays I always tell them, okay, but if I am 21 plus, I won't pay. If I am 21, I'll pay double. Greedy bastards are dumb sometimes. Story 5. No drugs, no smoking, no alcohol, and I work the night shift. I don't get sun damage almost the same. No drugs, very little alcohol, no smoking, no coffee, and work in the shade of an office since 18. I think sun exposure really plays a big deal. I come from a hot country, and when I started traveling, I remember I always underestimated the age of Western European women I met. They always looked 5 years younger than the women in my country. Story 6. My main secret is that I have done an incredible amount of work to improve my mental health over the last 35 years, so people are stunned to learn that I am 60. Unfortunately, I lack the motivation to do meditation. I have tended to do group work because then there are other people who are disappointed if I don't show up. Which gets me there. Started my recovery journey with a 12-step program called Adult Children of Alcoholics. That led me to getting involved in a peer counseling program. Along the way, I have done a bunch of professional counseling and even hypnotherapy, and took part in a series of rites of passages, including a 5-day vision fast out in the desert. Oh, and been a part of a men's group for 25 years. Story 7. Not having kids helps. This is mine. Early 30s, but I work around a lot of early 20-somethings. They're perplexed because they think I look like I just got out of college and am nearly their age. One in her late 20s asked if I had kids or was married. Nope, she said. There's your answer. That and I don't go outside much if I don't have to, so not a lot of sunburn. I think this is the biggest factor, along with genetics TBH. I'm about to turn 30, and people will regularly think I'm 21 to 22. I actually got asked what grade I'm in a few weeks ago. I'm constantly shocked how much older people with kids around my age look. It changes most people's body a lot. I never went through that. So I still stay around 105 to 110 pounds, and that's probably a big reason people think I'm so young. Story 8. Having chubby cheeks. That's why I stay away from buccal fat removal, ha ha ha. Drinking more water, always bring an umbrella for the sun, staying away from toxic relationships, and not having a family. I lost my round cheeks after weight loss, and I miss them. I don't really have any wrinkles at age 32, but my cheeks are more hollow now, and it has aged me in just a few years. I'm intrigued to see the people who've had buccal fat removed when they get to their late 40, early 50. Story 9. As a 42-year-old who occasionally gets mistaken for someone in their late 20, 30, stay active. Biking and dancing for me wear sunscreen. Don't have kids. Yes, I kind of forgot about the don't have kids part role. I've avoided the sun since my mid-teens and never set foot in a tanning booth. I've been using really good sunscreen for almost 20 years now, and I used decent sunscreen before that through my 20s and my mid-30s. I started using retinol and vitamin C probably also about 20 years ago, and I didn't have kids. I'm convinced having kids ages the living of you. It's not having kids that slows down aging. I had kids later in life, my second one at 41. I looked the same for about 20 years until I had children. Case in point, my husband recently saw a Halloween picture of me at 32 and thought it was from my high school days. Story 10. Genetics and being short. I have a full 50-50 split between my mother and father in my face, and both of them were often clocked as younger than they are. And I'm short, also petite in fashion, with a soft gamine body, so my overall essence is that of youthfulness. For example, verified soft gamines are Clara Bow, Reese Witherspoon, and Judy Garland. All of them, when you look at them, don't have maturity in their 20s because their particular essence of body lines, shape, and facial structure lends to being a petite powerhouse. Story 11. Sunscreen. This and just generally staying out of the sun when you don't have to be in it. When you have to go into the sun, sunscreen and big hats. Yeah, you look like a doofus, but once you get into 30 seconds and 40 seconds, the difference between those who do this and those who are always in the sun with no protection is not linear. It seems to be exponential. My friend's wife, constantly sunbathing, at the beach, at the lake, may or may not be vigilant about sunscreen. I try to do most of my outdoor activities in the late afternoon or evening, save beaches, lakes for special occasions, and when I do, it's a huge sun hat and tons of sunscreen. We're the same age, but she looks 15 to 20 years older. One time someone mistook her for my mom. Use it every day, even if it's in the dead of winter, you can still get damage over time. I started wearing sunscreen religiously about 15 years ago, and though I just turned 40, I get funny reactions when some people assume I'm early 30 seconds. They ask how it's possible, and I always tell them it's because of sunscreen. I use Korean and Japanese brands Biore, Mizzen, Nivea are just a few. Check out the R Asian Beauty Reddit for better advice that are 50 SPF for my face, neck, upper chest. For body sunscreen, I also prefer products from the same companies when possible, but if you live in the USA, you can usually find some decent body sunscreens from La Roche-Posay and Thelios products, Supergoop, Eltammed, and I see some people like Hawaiian Tropic, Banana Boat, Sunbum. Just always aim for at least 50% SPF or higher. Definitely put on sunscreen even if you're indoors, as you'll be around windows, driving, walking, etc., and will get UV exposure as well. I don't slather on heavy-duty sunscreen if I'm not leaving my house all day, but I do wear face products that still have at least some SPF, as my house is like a cave with hardly any windows and I work from home. So, yes, it's best to put on screen all day, every day. It's a good habit to have. Story 12. Genetics. Don't give away my secret or everyone will use it. I'm in my early 40 seconds and have been told I look at least 10 years younger than my age since I was in my 30 seconds. I don't do a thing, no lotions, only use sunscreen enough to avoid a bad burn, zero skincare. I don't do any drugs besides caffeine either, so that plays in my favor. But it boils down to, maybe I'm born with it. One of my big secrets, besides genetics, I guess, right, is that I don't really use anything either. I wash my face with one particular soap, and then, only if my skin feels dry, I follow up with some light lotion. And it usually doesn't. Body care is a slightly different story. I'll play around with fun body washes and fancy lotions sometimes, but it's mostly for the fragrance and novelty. When I wear makeup, it's super minimal. I have literally never used foundation, and I refuse to wear anything that I can't get off with a little soap and water. And my usual makeup wears off by the end of the day, so I don't even bother to wash my face before bed most of the time. Lastly, I do wear sunscreen when I know I'll be out in the sun for prolonged periods because I burn pretty easy. Story 13. I just woke up like this. It's a blessing now being aged 5 to 10 years younger than I am. But during my teens and 20s, just trying to enjoy a normal youth, it was a nightmare. Trying to be taken seriously in a professional setting in my 20s when I looked like a teen or young adult was horrible. Now in my 30s with a full beard, I get taken seriously at work. I'm afraid to shave though, might lose 10 years of experience based on my looks. I still remember drawing blood as a phlebotomist and talking to a donor I got along with about how I need to upgrade my life and be doing better. He was maybe 5 years older than me and he says, "Well, you have a lot of time to figure this out. You'll get there eventually, you just don't want to get to 40 and still not have a plan." Brother, I am 40, him silently. He thought I had just graduated high school. Even at the gym, some of the high school bros wanted to hang out and I had to tell them I'm an old man. They were around my weight class, so I'd jump in their sessions so I could have a spotter. At work, because nobody but HR knows my age, I tend to make sure I drop my age whenever I get a chance so management will actually consider me. Story 14. I guess this is my secret. I've always had pretty great mental health and self-esteem. My life is not super stressful. When I was in my late 22nd, people still thought I was in high school. Normally, I dismiss it because I'm Asian and so other races sometimes cannot tell. But people of my same ethnicity have commented that I look very young. Genetics, good mental health, low stress, being in relatively good shape, and sleeping helps a lot. I don't think I'm without some trauma. My parents used to argue really awfully, but they also loved me very much and stayed together, worked it out. I think compared to most people, my trauma was not that bad. I experienced the negative sides of life, like being bullied, but even then, not constantly and not by everyone. And tamed compared to how many other people are bullied. I was spared from the most horrific traumas. For example, as a woman, I've never been sexually assaulted, which I learned happens to so many women. I've never been in an abusive relationship either. I didn't lose my parents. I grew up poor but didn't know it and never went hungry. My parents are loving and sacrificing, so I was shielded from it. My husband, though, has no childhood trauma for real. He has never heard his parents argue. They're still together and super cute. He's very much not anxious and not depressed. The other aspect outside of not experiencing some of the most horrific traumatic things in life is that I have a natural positive temperament and am also naturally confident. I never thought of myself that way, but my mom said it's my defining quality and she didn't teach me it. She said I taught her to be comfortable in her own skin. So growing up, I never had body image issues like most women did at one time or another. I was ignorant of this until I started having more combos with my girlfriends about this topic. It's a mix of luck and certain choices. I obviously have moments of anxious feelings and sadness or anger, but they don't consume me and don't last super long. Story 15. Everyone over the age of 30 gets told that they do not look their age. I am a part of a couple skincare 30 subreddits, and it's this constant circle jerk of people who look their age but think they look so much younger because they lack the self-awareness to realize this fact. I use CeraVe, snail mucin, Aquaphor, castor oil, tretinoin, and I bathe in a vat of sunscreen, and everyone is so surprised that I tell them my real age because they all think I'm 22. Bro, no one, and I mean no one, thinks you're 22. There are very, very few people who actually look 10 to 20 years younger than they actually are, and you're probably not even close to being one of them. And that's a good thing. I am 36, and if I am around a bunch of 22-year-olds for any reason, I am very acutely aware of the fact that I am a lot older than these people. Alright folks, that's a wrap. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your thoughts in the comment below.